All right, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be doing a little bit something different. Rather than a review, I thought I would rank my Spider-Man figures. Now it's a random ass number. It's 14, but that's all I got, and I'm not counting um, like Agent Venom. Obviously, I'm not counting that. I'm just doing people in a Spider-Man costume. So if that means it's Miles, Peter, uh, Nightcrawler. If it's a Spider-Man, I'm ranking it, and I just kind of wanted to go over this, switch up the content a little bit, um, and yeah, there's also gonna be some customization at play here, and I will show that off as I go through, and that's also that has changed my opinion on some of these since customizing them. Like there's a couple in here that boosted up due to what I've done to them. There's a couple that don't have anything. So just keep that in mind. And so first at the bottom here, I'm giving it to the Hellfire Gala Spider-Man. If you saw my review on this guy, I'm not impressed with this guy. It's pretty boring. I appreciate the it's something new. It's not your normal Spider-Man look, but it's just not for me, and I wasn't super impressed with how this guy moved. His arm was stuck for like a week, and I just didn't care enough to fix it. I mean, he's fine now, but again, no customization on this guy. Super niche look for him. Just not for me. But I do appreciate the mix up here. And then next up, we have one of quite a few here from the Sony PlayStation game. And this is Spirit Spider. He's probably the least Spider-Man-y in this entire group, because, I mean, the only thing making sure you know it's Spider-Man is this. There's no, traditional web lining. There's not even really a suit. There's the big disgusting looking spider on the back. But this is like a different universe. I think Peter Parker. He got the spirit of vengeance, and this is what it is. Unfortunately, I just finished Spider-Man 2 for the first time yesterday. This suit is not in there. This is only in the first game. So, that's kind of whatever. But I always like a good hero mashup, whether it's Spider-Hulk, in Spider-Man 2, Miles has that really badass Wakandan suit, and there's the Wolverine suit. There's a Nightcrawler Spider-Man here up on the list later. So I've always appreciated a good mashup like this. I will say though, I don't think it's like blatantly obvious that it's Ghost Rider for sure, but other than the spider, it's not super blatantly Spider-Man-y. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fine, I did customize this. I did add white to the flames up there, and I did add black to the nose, the eyes, kind of a little wash in the teeth, and then these divots on either side of the mouth. I added black, and I think that helps it stand out a bit more. He's weird. He's just a weird guy. Silly Freaky Billy, or Evil Freaky Billy. He's got his dogs out. I don't know. He's not the funnest to move around. Like, there's no butterfly joints, which I think every Spider-Man should have. I don't know how. I mean, because this is all sculpted in. I don't know. They could have maybe fitted in there. I don't know. But either way, I like the novelty of it. I like the idea of it. It's just not the best, in my opinion. So, I don't think any of these are total trash, except this guy. So, but, just by the nature of a ranking system, something's got to be at the bottom. Next up is the Spider-Man Velocity suit, which, man, I really blew through the game. I can't remember if this one was in the second one or not. Now, this one shot up in how much I like it after I touched it up, because I added panel lines. I added this silver here that's accurate, the silver on the back that's accurate, and then there's like panel lines on the head that I went in with a fine tip pen filled in. And then all the blue you see was originally black, but it was like really cheap, glossy black. By the way, this guy feels super cheap. This is the reissue for the Gamerverse line. So I went in with a dark metal gray kind of to make that the blue, where it is blue, kind of spice that up. But I still wasn't happy with it. I still felt like this guy kind of sucked. And then when I'm looking at the costumes in the game, that's all supposed to be blue. It's supposed to glow. And I'm sitting here looking at the figure. I'm like, what? That's not what this is. So I just, on a whim, I picked it up and I went over all that with the blue. Even on the eyes, now there's a little bit of orange still on the eyes from the original paint, but that is so tiny. I didn't want to go that small and mess it up. So I just did the top part there, and I think it looks fine. But yeah, this made me appreciate it so much more. He still feels cheap, like the plastic that he's made out of just feels cheap all the way around. He's not very mobile. I can't ever seem to get this guy in a pose that I like, but seeing this more accurate paint to the spider work, I really like this. Boosted up quite a bit for me. So there's that. Next up is this. I got mixed views on this guy. It's also the Gamerverse Anti-Venom suit. Now, on one hand, I absolutely love how this guy moves. I do wish he had more of this system going on with the dumbbell joint midsection and the crunch right here, rather than the waist swivel. But, you know, it is what it is because the head moves phenomenally. And he's just really fun. The only problem I have with him is this is not the main version of the suit. This is just such a strange choice to me that they made. Because not only is it like a secondary version of the suit, an alternate colorway, they even messed the colorway up. Because this is supposed to be, like, the blue is just, it's too bright. You know, it's hard to tell if it was blue or black in the game because it's, like, shiny. So I think they went way too bright on that. And then the white you see on here, it's almost more silver. It kind of gets lost in the gloss of the blue. But it's closer to silver than it is white. But in the actual game, that's just straight up white. So I just don't understand this decision. Like I said, I love how he moves. He's one of my favorite to move around, but you know, and on top of that, there's a slight texture that's supposed to be on here too that's not present in the figure. So just a strange release, man. I don't know why. I don't know. That's like giving us Spider-Man 2099 and giving us like an alternate version of that. I guess what I'm trying to say is this is just weird to do. If this was your first go at this figure, why did you do it this way? This should have been like a variant or later. I don't know. It's just strange. No customization from me. There's just nothing I feel like I needed to do to this because otherwise it would be a whole repaint. I'm trying to stay away from that nowadays. Next up is another Gamerverse. It's Miles Bronx 2099. And I just love 2099 stuff. Now, I don't know the difference here because there is another 2099 Miles suit in the game, but this one is specifically Bronx 2099. I don't know the lore there. I don't understand. But what I do know is I love the way this looks. It does have butterfly joints. I wish he posed a little bit better, but you know, it is what it is. It's just a cool looking futuristic suit that I don't think goes overboard like a lot of those alternate suits do in the game. But yeah, so I did go over all the red with a more darker metallic red, and I really like that. I went all the way down the leg, and on the boots, or the shoes there, that wasn't black, so I had to fill that in, and that's accurate. I went over silver buckles, but my main thing here was the actual body color. It was almost brownish. So I went over it with a gunmetal gray, which is much more accurate to the game. And then, you know, silver panel lines here and there. And I just think it looks much better. I like this a lot. I just couldn't get over that murky, brownish, weird color it was prior. So I definitely think this looks much better. And yeah, then we're moving on to Paviter Pavarkar. I think I said that right. I hope I did. This is from this Across the Spider-Verse. It's fine. He comes with a cool accessory with that, I don't even know what that was, a spinning top or something. But you know, they did a fantastic job at transferring this guy into figure form. Everything looks super clean. I did go over all the gold and silver there. Added some panel lines as well. And he's just awesome. I do wish he had butterfly joints, but there's not a whole lot of room here. So there's that. But how much you can get this guy to bend this way is crazy to me. Like, he just really stands out with how much he's able to do that. Yeah, I mean, outside of the movie, I don't have any, connection to this character per se. So next up is Battle Damage Spider-Man. And maybe if I didn't lose all the accessories, this guy would be a little bit higher, but I don't know. It's I was really hyped when I first got him, but for whatever reason, my hype on him has kind of died down a bit, and I don't really know why that is. There's no customization from me. I'm also, I've heeded the warning online. I'm very scared to move his, maybe that's what it is. It's his drop down hips. I'm just terrified of them on any figure. So I don't know, there's that. It's cool enough. So yeah, not much to say about him. And next up, it's, I guess this would be Across the Spider-Verse, Peter Parker, right? I can't remember. Or is this Peter B. Parker? It's been a minute. I can't remember, but it's this one. And I think they captured, his silhouette quite nicely, his body shape. And this is the closest thing I got to a fully clothed comic book Spider-Man. So he stands out for me in that, through that lens. I do wish he had butterfly joints. I think that would send this thing over the edge for me, for sure, because he does move around pretty nicely. He does have drop-down hips, which scare me, but whatever. And as far as customization goes, I just took in a micro pen and filled in all those lines, and that really boosts this figure up for me in terms of presentation. So, like that quite nicely. I do wish I had a normal base comic book Spider-Man, but this is the closest I will get. Then next up we have the comic book accessory wave Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man here. And this guy's really fun to move around. I like his build. I like to move him around. His hips are obviously atrocious, but like I said in the video where I reviewed him, any other pose, they go away. I do wish he came with another one of these hands. There's no customization from me, but I think I think the main problem is the hip down. Obviously, I don't have to go on about the hips. We all know about the hips. But everything else, like, that's just, there's no musculature. That's just a tube of a leg. And then it goes into some clog-ass, like, look how, I don't know, that just looks so thick. Like he spray painted a clog or something. So, I don't know, but other than that, like the president, he is super clean. It's just I have some nitpicks with him here and there. Maybe this guy should be down a couple more because I'm definitely bitching about him more than I did this guy. So, I don't know, but that's that. And then next up is Spider-Man 77. And this guy's really up here this high because I just love the novelty of it. And it gives me hope for more stuff in this vein. I kind of like that he's like not superposable in a way, because this Spider-Man was, this was in the 70s, so they weren't getting him to do a whole lot of crazy stuff. But I don't know, he's just awesome. Very iconic look, even though I never really watched this. I was very familiar with the look, though, and I can't wait to get the Toei one back so I can have these two standing next to each other. Customization for me, I just went over the silver bits. That's all. Maybe I could film those panel lines with a darker gunmetal gray, but yeah, not much else. I think he's pretty cool. So next up, we have from the Stiltman wave, I believe, a figure that's new to this collection that I didn't have prior, and that is Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales. Now, I think they gave us one in the second line of Across the Spider-Verse, where it's basically this, but without the clothing. And that one was awesome. I love the Across the Spider-Verse one, but this one's equally as awesome to me. Customization, I did go over silver, so zippers, belts. I think I add darker red to the hoodie strings, and I did my best to give them Nikes. So, but the thing that blows me out the water with this figure is the head articulation. This has got to be the best. That's tilt. That's tilt. Looking down mostly all the way. And while it's not completely all the way, that's a lot higher than most dumbbell joints. I don't know what was done differently here, but this is probably, when it comes to the dumbbell system, this is probably the best I've ever seen it be done, because this is insane. Like, look at that. That's crazy to me. I don't know what it is, and like, it's a significantly smaller neck. Like, this is a very tiny neck relative to like any other figure. So I don't know what it is that makes this one so damn crazy in terms of posing, but he's always stood out to me for that. I can't remember if the other one that came out way later than this had the same head articulation. So, but I do know that this one it's just awesome. So, and then next up is the Uncanny Spider-Man Nightcrawler. Like I said, big fan of hero mashups, and this is something I would have been obsessed with when I was little. He's just so fun to move, you know? That's all there is to it. No customization from me, other than I did paint his sword. But it's just cool. It's black, it's red, and I didn't mention this in my review, but I noticed now that the spider emblem mimics that of the normal Nightcrawler costume, and then it even has the points which would normally flare up. Obviously, it's painted into the design here, but that's something I noticed a couple days after I reviewed this, and I just think that's awesome. You know, just truly awesome. I love moving this guy around. He's just fun. So, and then second place is the new Spider-Man 2099. This is the first normal red and blue one I've had. I did have that other alternate white one, which was decent, but it's super outdated. So, and I recently saw a video of this with the other, I think the other two. And I used to think the other two looked phenomenal, but this one standing in the middle of them, this is very clearly the best one they put out. He comes with a decent set of hands. The articulation's awesome. He has the toe joints. And the way they've done this cape just looks so ethereal to me. So this is like a design that hits really deep into my childhood, because it was like, when I think of Spider-Man back in the day, I think of like, you know, your classic red and blue, but then on the side there was Iron Spider, and then there's Spider-Man 2099. I don't know what line, was it Spider-Man Classics? I don't know. In my head, these figures were awesome, but when I see pictures of them nowadays, I'm like, ooh, sheesh. But I had this one and Iron Spider, and I loved them. So just very nostalgic for this design here. Really anything 2099, but more so Miguel here. So I also, when I was little, thought there was something to do with Punisher, because that spider clearly looks like a skull, but I was just a boy. So, but yeah, this thing's just clean. No customization from me. He's damn near perfect. And then this might disappoint some people, but it's my list. And that is... Now, I'm going to say it first, and you're going to be like, what? It's the upgraded suit from Spider-Man Far From Home. And I know. Now, if this was just the base figure, he'd be down this list. But I have done an upgrade to him that I'm pretty proud of. And here he is. Now, what have I done? Art. I'm just kidding. So... another one that probably would have been top spot here is my final swing suit from No Way Home. That leg broke, hence my PTSD for drop down hips. I did keep the figure. I was like, maybe I'll part him out, see what I can do. And I've always hated the head that came on this Spider-Man. And I'd never liked his hands. He only came with like really ugly grip hands and really ugly kind of curled up web shooters. So I was like, what if I just take these hands from the final swing suit, paint them how they should be painted? And that's what I did. Much better set of thwippers, and you finally get some sprawled out hands. Now, I did paint all the hands, by the way. I will say, though, on the bottom here, I didn't paint the hinge because I'd rather just have the hinge than, like, a hinge that clearly has scraped off black paint. So on the bottom, it's not so bad. It kind of works into the design there, as you can see. But the top, it is a bit noticeable. However, if you were to get, like, yeah, I mean, hell, even this Miles Morales here. If you were just, like, literally get any other Miles Morales, I mean, look, it's literally the same. So that could probably work for sure. This is a much darker red. But if you wanted to do this, maybe get an extra set of Miles hands that maybe more so fit the red here. What about this one even? This one's a little bit better, but yeah. And then obviously I went in with a pen and filled in all the panel lines. I did go over this gunmetal gray that he has on where the red meets the black. Also, this figure's always just looked cheap to me. More so the earlier versions of this. I forgot which number release this is, but the earlier ones looked so shiny and cheap. I hated it. The black on this one's not as bad as it used to be. I still think the red is a little bit too shiny. But something to know if you were to do this with the final swingsuit, if yours broke, is the web lines are raised. And you can't really tell the color difference with the hands, but just know that the black lines are raised, and it's also raised on the head. Now, the color difference, I don't know, let me see if you can, yeah, you can kind of see it on the camera here. There is a slight color difference on the red. I'll say it's not as noticeable in person, but it is a different color slightly. These lines are raised, and there is that kind of dodgeball texture on his head. But from far away, you can't really tell. And under shadow, like, it looks fine. So there's that. For me it was just really making that head look better, because the other one's just too damn small. And this is one of my favorite MCU suits, and I just always hated that the figure wasn't hitting that spot for me. Well, I did this and it's hitting that spot. Now I could go in and maybe color match the head a little bit, but I'm trying to stop doing such drastic paint changes. I'm trying to keep it minimal. So like I said, under the shadow of the shelf, blending in with every other color from every other figure and being from like a normal distance away, this thing easily boosted up significantly on my list of favorite Spider-Man figures I have. So yeah, this is one of my favorite upgrades I've ever done. So like I said, if yours took a dump, your final swing, why not? You know, I would even go far as to say, I feel like the Homecoming heads weren't even as bad as the one that came on this. I feel like I remember liking the Homecoming heads better than this. So, but if you don't like the Homecoming heads, you might be able to pluck this one on that too. I would assume. I don't have any of those figures to try. I can't remember. I feel like the red on those were darker, so maybe the head would stick out a little bit more. I don't know. It's worth mixing and matching, seeing what you like. But as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, this is awesome to me. I wanted to like this figure the whole time, and I finally do now, and that's just cool. Plus, I get to put some of the best parts of the final swingsuit back to use, so it wasn't a complete waste that he took a dump on me. So there we go. Pretty easy. And like I said, if you want to try this, maybe experiment with some different Miles Morales hands. I can't think. Like I said, this one's a little bit dark. Maybe the Gamerverse one, perhaps. I'm not sure. But I'm sure you can find something. Or at the end of the day, just do what I did and paint this. If the web line being raised doesn't bug you, and that this doesn't bug you right there, go for it. Like I said on the bottom there, that doesn't really bug me. Kind of looks like it's like maybe part of a web shooter. I don't know. But yeah, that's gonna do it. So I got these all jumbled up back here, so I don't know the order of which I said anything. And I doubt I'm grabbing them in that order, although I think I'm doing okay so far. This is where I'm gonna lose it though. Well, maybe not, I don't know. Just wanna get them all up here, show you. I will say with this one, he has a hard time standing sometimes. He's got tiny little dogs out. Bada bing, bada boom. You can fit right there. You can fit right there. Oh yeah. And there we go. That's all my Spider-Man figures that I have right now. Ranked, hopefully this wasn't too bad of a video. I'd much rather have, you know, like the makeatierlist.com or whatever thing going with the pictures, but working with what I got still. And that's pretty much my list there. So if you're into customizing anything, I can understand being a little bit scared of paint here and there. That's understandable. But this one's pretty easy to do if you were interested in it. The other ones get a little bit more intricate, but not by much. But definitely something like this one here. It's so easy to fill in those lines with the micro tip pen. I say go for it. If not having web lines really bugs you, because there's 3 different ways they do it. There's the painted on version right here. Then there's the indented version right here, which the shadows will kind of make it look like a web line, but I think that does a piss poor job. So I just make my own. And then like here on this head, they're actually raised. So, you know, it's just depending on how they decide to do it, you know? I think it always looks better. If they're raised, they're probably already painted. I mean, they're raised on this Miles head here, but those are supposed to be black, so whatever. But I would pretty much always prefer them to be sculpted inward or outward anyway. But anyway, I think I'm rambling at this point, guys. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite Spider-Man? Do you like any of these little upgrades I did to any of these? Do you have a Spider-Man figure that you really want that they haven't made yet? I would love a modern Man-Spider, and rumors of a brand new day that there's going to be Man-Spider in there, which, not going to lie, that's like, so far, I know a lot about the movie so far. That's the one part that has me kind of like, ooh, I don't know about that. Certain thing needs to stay in the comics. I think that's one of those things. So I'm hoping it's either a dream sequence or something induced by what we think is Jean Grey. But if that like just straight up happens in the movie, I don't know about that. Maybe they can pull it off. They pulled off Rocket Raccoon and you know, somebody like Mysterio that I thought they could never do, and they did it. So I have faith in them. But either way, I hope we get if it shows up on screen, I hope we get a figure of it for sure. And obviously, I'm waiting for that brand new day suit as well. So many more to go on my end in terms of figures. Like, I really want the animated series 1, Maximum series. There's a lot of Spider-Man. I don't want every single one, but I want a lot of them, and we will get there eventually. Until then, thank you guys so much for clicking. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, whatever you need to do. I'm about to hit 20 subscribers, which is crazy. But I'm not going to worry about every 10 subscribers. So I'm going to aim for next month, end of the next month. Let's try to hit 50. That would be awesome, because 20 is cool, but 50, you're really tickling my titties. So on that note, I'm out. See ya. Peace.